Hello friends, I hope you all are fine. Well, I'm fine too. So we are going to continue with our science series biology where we are studying chapter 1, the living world. So from few last lecture we have been studied about how to store plant and animal, and why we are storing them. Remember, yes, just for our information purpose. Okay, we need to have information either right now or in future about each and every living thing, and that is why we are storing them. Okay, so we've already talked about herbarium and botanical garden where we say how to store dead and living plants both. Right now we are going to talk about, yes, this is a word you may have heard many times and you may have been there too. So that is museum. Okay, so I hope most of you know this term, that what is museum. Okay, so I kind of hope that you have been there, and if not, you at least have seen in movies and all, right? So really first let me suggest you a movie called The Night in a Museum. Yes, ma'am of science suggesting a movie. Yes, okay, because it is very much related to this topic. You can see that. So in museum what happens, you may have seen, and if not, then as I say in a movie, and if not, that no worry, I'm here, right? There are animals, okay, and plants made, like also animal, but plants museum too. Okay, so how am I going to conduct the, if someone asks you what is the scientific definition of it, normally I would say that they store this animal and plant specimens. Okay, animal dead, always dead, plant in a living state, or they can store it in a dead state too. Okay, so like in the case of plant museum, it is kind of a mixture of the botanical garden and herbarium, you see. Okay, we are going to see how they store. So if someone is going to ask me the actual definition, like scientific definition, which is going to let you gain marks, right? So what are you going to write, or what I'll suggest you to write? So that would be, so it is a museum, okay, that have collection of preserved plants and animal specimen for study and reference. Of course, now we know that why we are storing this animal and plant. So of course, for the study purpose. So if you want to, or in future any student want to research or study on that, okay, for that, and any reference. Okay, again for research reference, or if someone wants to find something on that purpose. Okay, so museum have collection of preserved plant and animal. Though we have already talked about plant, right? Dead and alive both. Museum can be plant museum or animal museum, or sometimes it contains both. Okay. So in plant museum, what is going to happen? They are going to see, this is kind of a plant museum. Can you see? So they're going to put each and every plant in a glass box. Okay. A kind of a big glass box. Okay. Similarly, see, this is an animal museum, and here they also put all the things in a glass box. Okay, so both the things they are going to put in a kind of a big glass box. Of course, if the plant is not this much big, see, this is a tobacco plant, okay, they put this in a glass. If the plant is not this much large, then what they are going to do, they are going to put it into the small glass box. Okay, so that is a very obvious thing, like on the base of their size, they are going to put them. Though we have already talked about plant, I am going to let you know about these things with the understanding of animal. Okay, because see, animals have two storehouse, like in a dead state, yes, museum. In a live state, we are going to talk about zoological parks, just like we talk about botanical gardens, and they were living, right? All the plants were. Just like that, you can have this live animals too, that in the zoological park that we are going to talk about in the next lecture. Okay, so for now you have to remember that in museum there is always preserved animals. That simply means that animals are not alive. They are not alive. Remember this, okay? Even the plants though, okay, but when you talk about plants, okay, there are some preserved plant too, but here you can see sometimes they get put like live plant too, okay? So this is how museums work. They have this different kind of specimen. Now, let's just take an example of a small animals. How they put small animals? So you can store them in containers or jars. Okay, can you see these animals? For example, here there is a fish. This is a fish, snake, okay, tadpoles, like small version of frog. Okay, and many more are going to be here. So all of these are stored in, can you see? These are the glass containers or jar. Okay, then because you have to put them for a years, okay, you are storing them in a same state. Okay, for example, you gotten this particular fish in this manner. Okay, you want them to be in same state. Of course, if you are going to put that normally just in a jar, then what is going to happen? Biodegradation. We have studied about this, right? There are microorganisms who are going to degrade it. So what you have to do if you want to put them in a same state, you have to add preservatives, right? Yes. So can you see this liquid over here in each and every jar? That is your preservative. Okay. What could be the preservative? Formalin is the best preservative you can use to store them. Like obviously not in a very strong form. You kind of dilute it to 10 to 40%. So you call it a formaldehyde. Very, very, very important question. Let me put a 5-star here. For neat purpose. Okay. Neat purpose. Clear? Okay. So this is how we are going to store some kind of a small animals. Okay. If you talk about how we store insect here. Okay. Though. Yeah, one point I would like to stress is all of this museum and all are, of course, normally they are present, you can go there. But most of the time you will see it in a school and colleges. Okay. Because, see, all these things are for the research purpose. And obviously, most of the research is going to be in a college, institute, schools and all. Okay, so most of the time you're going to see in that place. Before I forget the point to mention. So that is why I kind of put it in the middle. Okay, so we talk about how you are going to store some small animals. Now let's just say how you will store insects which are very small. Okay, so we are going to see all of them like one by one. This insect right here are going to be put into, can you see some kind of a frame kind of appearance here? Yes, so they put it into an insect box. What will you call them? An insect box. See, so these are different kind of insect. Okay, as you can see, yeah, spiders and butterfly and all the different kind of insects. Okay, and they've put it into a particular box, and that, my friends, we call as an insect box. Okay, how you're going to put each and every insect in there? So there is a process which you have to follow. First of all, what you are going to do? You are going to, of course, collect them. Okay, so collect your insect. Then killing. Yes, you kind of have to be a murderer right here. You murderer. So you are killing them, and after that you are pinning them. Okay, it's like a very, what can we say, very sad death. Yeah, you are collecting them, killing them, and then you are pinning them and showing them to the world in an insect box. What a great life and death they have. Okay, so this is how we are going to store insects, which are very small. Alright, see, these were the small animals. The first one, small animals. The second one, very small. Okay, the insects. Then, how you are going to store large animals. Okay, for example, I want to store lion or tiger or bear, polar bear. How we are going to do that? Okay, so for that, let me just, yes, we are going to study each of it as I told you. Okay, so this is your third one. How you are going to store them? So, see, it looks like real. You can see it, right? It just looks like a real bear here. It just looked like a real lion, but they are not like real. They are not alive. Okay, these are dead. but how they are making this looks like it is alive. So what they do, they remove all the body parts from inside, okay, and then they are going to do the stuffing. What? Stuffing of what? Stuffing of cotton, right? Wool, or sometimes some leftover plant, leaves or grass. Okay, so what they are going to do, they are going to do the stuffing and then preserve them. So these are kind of a stuffed mammals and birds. So these are the mammal. Now we know what are mammals, right? And these are birds. You can do the same with birds too. See, all the outer part, their feathers are there, which is original, but the stuffing inside, you just remove all their inside internal body parts, and then you stuffed these animals with either cotton, wool, or some leftover plant leaves or grass kind of thing. Okay, this is how you preserve the larger animals and birds. Clear? Okay, sometimes, of course, you may have seen that sometimes they preserve the dry plant specimen and animal specimens too. So just like herbarium, okay, so that can be stored in museum too. Clear? So in museum there is live and dead plant both. In museum there are always dead animals, remember. Okay, in plant case it is kind of a mixture, but in case of museum that is always dead. Okay, so you may write dead in both actually. Okay, so this was all about storing animal, but do you remember Jurassic Park? Yes, the movie, the great movie. And other than that, what I've suggested, you can see it. You may have seen something like this. Okay, this box. What is this? This is a skeleton, right? This is a... Wait a minute, let me just... Okay, so what is this? A skeleton. And that is exact how you can also store some animal. You can store their skeleton, okay, or skeleton parts, just like this dinosaur. So we didn't know how they actually look like, but because we have this kind of a skeleton, we can have an idea. We have the reference. Remember the definition of that, and we can study about them or do some research on them. So this is how museum goes. Kind of an important topic. Okay, so let's just take a quick review. Museum is what? It is a collection of preserved plant and animals. So you also have to write, see, do not write live plants, it's okay. You just have to write preserved plant and animal, always dead. Remember this. Why you are doing this? Why you are making this whole museum? Just for study and reference purpose. Okay, how you are going to store them? Okay, so in a big glass box, if there is a small animal in a container or jars, with the preservatives. What are the preservative? Formaldehyde. Very important for neat purposes, I say. How you are going to store insect in an insect box? Okay, you are collecting, killing and pinning them, right? Then how you are going to store stuff like mammals and birds? You are doing the stuffing, like the stuffed animals. Okay, stuffing of what? Cotton, wool, leftover plants and some grasses. Okay, and then you are preserving them in this manner. And then you can also preserve skeleton. Okay, so this is how museum works. Very important. Either they can ask you whole or they can ask you many 1-mark question from it. So I hope you got the lecture. Till then, thank you and